Welcome everyone to your weekly astrology forecast from Born Without Boundaries Tarot here on Astrology Motivation. Thank you so much for coming over. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you know when I upload content like this. So this is a weekly astrology forecast, meaning that I am going to get into the primary transits and aspects of the planets and luminaries for this week. There are a lot of important transits and aspects happening this week. And it's a game changer. This week has a lot of fate, has a lot of we're not going to take it anymore, has a lot of no more Mr. Nice Guy, and has a lot of forgiveness in it. So what does that mean? We're not going to take it anymore is primarily fate and the planets, as in we're done. We need to clear this out, and so it's going to get cleared out. It is not as horrendously traumatic as 2020 and 2021. It's actually a lot more gentle and a lot more spiritual, but it's potent and it's happening. No More Mr. Nice Guy is going to impact us a little bit as well, in that we'll have this mentality of, oh my God, you will not be able to ignore the things that you have ignored for a very long while. And that could be in some ways dharmic. And we'll get into that as well, because Pluto is very heavily involved in everything that's been going on. Forgiveness. That's a key term, because I think we always decide that forgiveness is something that we do for others. But really, forgiveness is what we do for ourselves, even when we are forgiving others. But this is deeper, because this is really a week where we have to forgive ourselves. What is forgive? It's letting go. It's just let it go. That's what it is. It's not just let it go. It's to the point where we can't not let it go anymore because we've held on so long, we legitimately are going to go down with the ship if we don't let go. We are not going to go down with the ship. This is the time when we are absolutely renewed. It will be brought to you by frustration, anger, sadness, pain. All this is happening in Scorpio. So it's not like it's going to be easy shit. But it is going to be a fresh restart. And by the end of this week, we will have basically the universe have pushed up almost a toolkit from the crown. If you ever watched or read the old Arthurian legends, you'll know that scene where the Lady of the Lake pulled the magical sword up from the bottom of the lake, and it came out of the lake and was put into the stone. Well, that's kind of what's going to be happening, metaphorically, not literally. And if it happens literally, y'all better email me and let me know where that shit's going down. But metaphorically, it's going to come up, and we're going to be presented with the tools to slay the dragon. The slaying of the dragon is going to occur later in the month of November. Well, no, later in the season of Scorpio, around the full moon. Now, what happens with the planets, and there's a lot of changing positions with the planets this week. By the end of this week, we will have a super stellium in Scorpio. We will have Mercury, Venus, the Sun. We've had the North Node, and I believe the Midheaven is going to be all in Scorpio. So we've got a major energy dump in the sign of Scorpio, which is sort of a bottomless pit anyway. So it's almost like so many of the inner energies, the energies that impact our day-to-day, have gone into the underworld. And what do they do there? Well, they get real uncomfortable there, okay? The Sun and Venus especially not comfortable. When the moon, on the new moon, when the Sun, Venus, and the moon are conjunct, very uncomfortable energy. Why? Because now we're dealing with things that we have buried, perhaps for lifetimes. And then the only way out is through, and also finding the beauty in the darkness. So let's get into the major transits this week. Major transits this week are, of course, the moon transiting into Scorpio to create the new moon, which is also an eclipse, which is also happening in direct opposition to Uranus. And if that ain't change, I don't know what is. Then we have the transit of Jupiter back into Pisces because of its regression, because of its retrograde. Now Jupiter's very comfortable in Pisces. It's domicile, it's home. It used to rule Pisces before we discovered Neptune. So it's not that it's uncomfortable there. It has retrograded all the way back into Pisces, and that happens about Friday, Saturday. And then between Saturday, Sunday, another major transit happens, and that is Mercury into Scorpio. Now, Mercury isn't necessarily uncomfortable in Scorpio. Mercury pretty much tries to remain neutral wherever it is, but it does mean that there's some PI work and investigation that's going to be going on while Mercury is in Scorpio, which I think is really going to help out the Sun and Venus. So those are the major transits that are occurring this week, and the fact that they're happening all in 1 week means it's a major transitional week. Jupiter transiting into Pisces and being conjunct Neptune, well, what does that mean? Well, that means we're getting a hell of a lot more spiritual, because Jupiter in Pisces is just God space. That's what it is. And it's almost like, in some ways, because Jupiter had to retrograde back into Pisces, there was this pull of, why did you forget all this? Why did you forget all this spirituality? Why did you forget the connection to God? Why did you forget it? Y'all better remember. And you could see at the end of the week, a major aspect, there's quincunx to all those planets, those inner planets over in Scorpio. So it's almost like asking the day-to-day, the everyday consciousness, why did y'all get so disconnected from God? What the fuck is that about? And we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to impact you so that you remember. And so connecting to your God space is absolutely essential. And it is the way to alleviate the suffering, the pain, the irritability, or the challenges that will be coming up. I mean, it's like the further away from God you've gotten, the harder it's going to be. And I don't mean religion. And I don't even mean spirituality or saging shit. I mean, because a lot of outer planets are really involved here. Uranus is in direct opposition to all this. So it's basically saying, no, you've gotten away from your connection to the eternal on the day-to-day basis. You've gotten away from your connection to the real reality because of the reality that you've defined. Remember, Scorpio's an extraordinarily spiritual space. It is all spirit world. You ain't got nothing but spirit world in Scorpio because it's all happening in the underworld. It's all in the dark. You require faith to get through. You're not going to be able to use your eyes. Nobody gives a shit how you look. It's not none of those things that we normally use every day to get through shit or fake it till we make it. None of them work there. This is a completely different kind of almost fluid that we're in. So let's get a little bit into what I have written down. The new moon on the 25th, that's Venus, Sun, Moon, all in conjunction, opposite Uranus, and, okay, all in conjunction with that South Node. What does that mean? All the mistakes from the past that we've made with the Sun, which is our pride, Venus, which is our vanity, and Mercury, which is our cleverness. Well, Mercury's coming in. It'll come in later this week. So let's just focus on the new moon. The Sun, which is our pride, and Venus, which is our vanity. And they're conjunct. Our pride and our vanity have teamed up to kind of make us feel good about ourselves. But Uranus is changing that. How do we feel good about ourselves? What do we feel good about ourselves for? Is it really what we are or what we ever wanted to be? And the fact that there's this tension that's happening, not so much with the new moon, but by the end of this week, this tension that's happening with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces is saying, you're not who you really are. You're not who you were meant to be. You're not. What are you? You're the fake it trying to make it, which I don't judge because I think sometimes it's a really good strategy. But here it's almost like you've got to stop forgetting who you really are because of who you've had to become in order to get where you want to go. You got to get where you want to go, still being you. And all those aspects of yourself that have been buried under vanity, under pride, are about to be dismantled. But in a beautiful way, in that they're being dismantled they're changing. It's like, but I don't want to fake it anymore. I want to remember who I am. I want to remember everything that I really am, and I want to find beauty in that. I want to find beauty in the things that I was afraid of. I want to find value in those things that I thought were disgusting. I want to find value in those aspects of myself that I decided I was going to cut off and section away. I want to find those again, because that makes me whole, and that makes me complete, and that makes me strong. And that's what truly makes me beautiful and truly makes me succeed. So that's the internal work that's going to be going on. Now externally, there's a lot of forgiveness and letting go that we're going to have to do in different situations between other people. You know, our pride, meaning, oh, I feel like I have to always get this by myself. Our vanity, I feel like I have to, people need to pay attention to me for this. That's going to be broken down. That's going to be broken apart. So the more prideful and vain you are, I guarantee you, the more changes and more extreme changes you're going to be feeling. And it's a good thing, because honestly, I think that we've lost track with the stuff that's really important, as cliche as that sounds, especially the aspects and dynamics of ourselves that are really important. And whatever's getting in the way of that, God's going to just crack it all away. And it could be destructive. It is going to be destructive. For most of us, it's going to be destructive in the way that a cocoon destroys a caterpillar. It's setting you up to spread your wings. And the spreading of the wings will happen after November 8th, which is this full moon. There's an intimate connection between these two moons. They're both eclipses. These eclipses are making the dark and extreme dark, and the light and extreme light. So the dark and extreme dark, as in the new moon, is always dark. But during an eclipse, it's almost going to be a red new moon. It's going to not be that little sliver of the new moon. When we start to see it, is going to go dark. It's going to be darker, and the fact that it's happening in Scorpio means you can't get more dark. The universe has taken away our comfort zones, so we have to deal with our discomfort and find those parts of ourselves that can survive them again. Now, the confrontation of this can be really, really, really challenging for a lot of people. But I've got to tell you that ultimately, by that new moon, your life is never going to be the same again. But I think it's less in the way that somebody's going to die or somebody's going to, but more in the way of, okay, I'm just going to say it. When King Arthur, as a little boy, pulled the sword from the stone, he never knew there were aspects of himself that were exceptional. Or if he did, he chalked it up to stupid stories in his head. There was always something different. You could always feel the pull. But this is the moment when the pull pulls you into comprehension. It's like the moment when Luke Skywalker meets R2-D2 and fate snaps into place. And before then, he was just a kid who was always distracted by the life around him, because the life around him wasn't really his life. It was a life that was protecting him until he was ready for the life that he was meant for. And that's the cocoon, and we're about to come out of it. That's what I'm talking about. So, major challenges this week will have to do with our pride breaking down, our vanity breaking down, money, financial, beauty images, Pride is in success levels, or have we gotten the career that we've gotten, or what's happening at our job, or our pride is going to be taking a hit. That's what it is. It's battering away at us. It's like it's trying to remind us what we don't know, so that we have to dig deeper inside of ourselves to pull up those talents and skills and blessings that we just haven't even consciously discovered yet. But the subconscious is going to become the consciousness. It is going to play out with legitimate accuracy in front of us now. If you have had past ones, loved ones that have passed, it's almost like you're going to be hearing them in your ear. The fact that Halloween is not too far away and that veil is thinning is, by the end of this week, it will be Halloween. And that veil is thin. And that's the point of this whole moment in time, is that ultimately we're supposed to hear those things that we were told were just pretend, that we were told were just make pretend, that we were told were just made up or stories. There are actual aspects of those coming into our personal reality. I think they're also coming into our global reality. The fact that Uranus is involved and engaged and opposing this vanity and this pride, and by the end of the week, even this cleverness with Mercury, bam! It's saying all the things that you've added up with your mathematics are a bunch of fucking bullshit. I'm about to bring the true enlightenment up in this bitch. And change, because it's in Taurus, all the traditions that you've legitimately rooted yourself in. You were wrong about it. You know what was right about it? Neptune, Jupiter. Cue those two. Bam. The spiritualists have known it all along. I have been predicting for a while that universally something is going to come out through science, through math, especially through mathematics. Uranus is very mathematical, because math is really the language of the universe. And the deeper you understand it, the more you understand what we don't understand here. So I think it's going to be through mathematics, because Uranus was discovered through mathematics. I think there's going to be a discovery through patterning and mathematics, shit that's way above my head, that is going to completely blow away the pride, the vanity, and cleverness that we think we have all set in place. And that would be, cue Jupiter and Neptune, this spiritual concept actually proven in some way. So I think there's a big discovery that's about to happen. That's about to demonstrate to us that everything we thought we knew, we'd gotten it wrong. Now that's on a universal level, but you can definitely take that down into meaning in your personal life as well. Everything you thought you knew, all the reality that you thought was proven and that you were sure of, it's not. It's not what it was. It's not what it seemed. It's not what you hoped it would be. It's not. It's actually something that I think is older. It's older and we forgot it. It's not like it's never been here before. Scorpio implies that we're rediscovering it, that we're digging it up, that it was buried so deep and it never should have been. Just like all those talents and skills and abilities inside of us that are being forced out, because they're the only things, the primal is the only thing that's going to protect us through all of this chaotic change. That primal is going to snap back in and take over and make sure everything that needs to go goes, and everything that really is true gets brought to the surface. So you let me know in the comments below, just how this week is impacting you, because yes, I am extremely curious about the personal journey and the personal expression. And if any of you are following any kind of scientific journey or discoveries or even global news that you can verify, please include the links below too. I would really love to know. You can email them to me. I'm really excited to see what, especially by the end of this week, is really going to be discovered, but especially between now and the next 2 weeks, between now and the next full moon eclipse. So yeah, definitely keep in contact with me. If you have not liked this video, which is so easy to forget, please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I go live Monday through Friday. We'll have a daily chat and a general tarot card reading. It's a wonderful experience, and I hope that you guys can join me. And of course, on Born Without Boundaries Tarot, remember I do 12 videos every single week with new messages for each zodiac sign every single week. And there's a whole slew of new content coming out for you guys to enjoy. So I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. And each of those places has unique content. So you're not getting all the content just here. I try to diversify it as much as I can. I welcome you to join me. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, guys. And I will see you in the videos. Bye.